Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I just sneezed, so sorry if I don't know. I don't know what I was apologising for. I just wanted to be cozy today. It's really cold up here, which I don't mind. I'd rather be cold than hot. But that's why I don't have a button-up shirt on today. Well, happy Monday. I hope you had an amazing week. If this is your first time joining me in one of these videos, I basically tell my subscribers stories that I send in to me. Ghost stories, paranormal stuff. Weird things going on. So if you have any stories like that that you want to share, whether you want to send it in as an email or a video or a audio clip, then please go ahead and send it right here to this email address and I will share it with everyone here. Oh, and this series is very much based on Bailey Saren's Murder Mystery Makeup Mondays, so go ahead and check it out. I'm sure you already know who she is, but I will link her channel below. So every Monday I decide on a way that I died and I do a makeup theme around that. Last week was I just had enough in general. So today's theme is going to be something that, you know what, this year, and not just because it's New Year, but in general, I feel like health has been such a scary situation this year. So I'm just going to try and start eating healthier. Not like, I'm not going to be like crazy, but I want to start eating healthier because, you know, I'm an age and I need to. So we are going to do a kind of gluttony themed death today. So I'm thinking of like chocolate browns, foodie shades, which is pretty much anything really when you think about it. But I'm looking at these two palettes here in particular. Colourpop sent me these amazing, I wish my lighting would, a set of these really amazing eyeshadow palettes. Look at the glitter in this one. And I'm looking at these shades and really thinking they're going to be really good today. There's also, you know how hard I'm trying to stay away from this purple. Let me show you. Why don't I just open the palettes? Look at that colour. But I'm going to stay away from it for you, for all of you. We also have this more, oh, these fit in nice with this, right? These more grey tones. And then we have some more reddy tones here. I'm going to stick to the brown as much as I can today. Yes, I am an affiliate with Colourpop, so I do have a discount code below for you and an affiliate link. If you choose to use them, that's absolutely fine. If not, you know how to use Google and find Colourpop, right? Okay, so we're going to do a cut crease because I haven't done a cut crease in such a long time. I'm going to get my eye base on and then we will read the first story. So I'm going to start with this palette first and I'll let you know when I'm moving on to the dark one. So our first story today is called Shadow Man. Ooh. Hi Robert, I absolutely live and die for your ghost stories and makeup Mondays. Thank you so much. I love getting ready with you every week and wanted to contribute my own experience. So, sometime early last year, I was in bed one morning, half awake, and my eyes still closed. I could hear my mum downstairs, who was already awake, and I could feel it was still early, and I didn't want to wake up just yet. I heard my door open. It's very squeaky, so the sound is unmistakable, and assumed it was my mum or brother coming in to tell me something. My room wasn't very clean at the time, and I didn't want my mum to yell at me, so I pretended to be fast asleep. I heard some whispering from multiple voices, but couldn't make out what they were saying. I thought it was weird, both my mum and brother would be in my room at the same time. Then I felt someone get into bed with me and lay down next to me. Now, I thought my brother was messing with me and I opened my eyes. My room was still very dimly lit because the sun was barely rising, but I saw a silhouette of someone laying next to me. I couldn't make out who it was. I have a king-size bed and couldn't feel anyone close to me. But I did feel the weight of someone or something on the other side of it. Still thinking it was my brother, I tried to reach out to him, but I was frozen, solid. My heart was pounding. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even shut my eyes. I began to have this feeling like whatever was next to me was almost controlling me. I had no idea what to do and just started to cry as I stared at the shadow laying next to me. It didn't have a face or eyes. It was just a grey shadow in the shape of a person. I eventually was able to shut my eyes again and hoped it would disappear. I felt a hand slowly rest on my arm, and I shot my eyes back open, but it was gone. I could move again, and immediately got out of bed and ran out of my room. My mum was downstairs, cleaning the kitchen, and my brother hadn't even woke up yet. I had no explanation for what happened because I'm the only one in the house that sleeps upstairs. I tried to convince myself it was a dream or sleep paralysis, but I know what I felt that night was real. I am terrified of what it could have been. Yeah, I absolutely would be too. Thank you so much for that story. To think that something can crawl into bed with you and be right next to you and control your body. No. I cannot even begin to imagine how terrifying that must have been. Shadow people scare me. Videos of shadow people scare me. You know, when they're like creeping around the corner. And the fact they're just like this uninvited house guest, like that's incredibly rude for one. Okay, so I need to get this cut crease on. So let's go to an audio. And this story is called, oh, I don't know. It doesn't have a name. Let's see.
Hi Robert, I came across your channel earlier this year. I absolutely love your channel, and watching your YouTube family grow gives me so much happiness because you deserve all the love. I have learned so much from you. Thank you so much for all the knowledge and tips. And now here's my story. The name of my story is Our Walk with the Undead. I used to visit India during my school holidays every year with my family. During one of my vacations, my family, that is my parents, my aunts and their husbands and kids, and my grandparents, decided to go on a nice road trip to southern India. We visited a village by the beach and decided to stay for 2 days at a hotel, which was a good 25 minutes walk from the beach. There were around 20 of us. After having played on the beach till late evening, we started making our way back to the hotel, but with little luck. It was already pitch dark as it was a moonless night and the road was poorly lit. This was way back in the late 90s, so we didn't have smartphones with torchlight or even Google Maps. A couple of my younger cousins started crying as we couldn't see the road ahead very well. Just then, we saw a light coming towards us. As it came closer, we saw that it was an old woman carrying the torchlight. She must have been 70-75 years of age. She had weak, wispy white hair and a thin skeletal face. She introduced herself to us as Auntie Parvati and said that she lived close by. She asked where we were from and kindly offered to walk us to a hotel since she had the torchlight. Throughout the 25 minutes walk, she told us stories about this village and how she had lived in this village all her life. I was walking beside her while listening to her, and while walking, I stumbled upon a pothole in the road, and she held my arm to stop me falling. I noticed she was walking barefoot. She then told us that we should not wander in the night like this, as you never know who you meet on the road in the dark. We found her statement a little strange, but we didn't ask further. When we neared our hotel, she gave us the torchlight and told us to carry on from there. Before saying goodbye, my parents thanked her and took down her address so we could return the torchlight the next day before we left the village. My grandparents decided that the next day, the first thing we'd do is we'd return the torchlight to her before leaving. The next day, we went to the address given by the lady to return her torch. We knocked on her door, and it was answered by a man. My grandparents introduced themselves and asked for Auntie Parvati. The man looked at us confused and asked again, "Whom are you looking for?" My grandparents took out the torch and explained to him that we had run into Auntie Parvati the earlier night, and she had very kindly guided us to a hotel, and we were there to return her torch. The man looked at us shocked and invited us to enter their house. He asked us yet again, "Are you sure you met Auntie Parvati? It's not possible that you did." My grandparents said, "What do you mean? She's the one who gave us this torch and your address." The man then pointed at an old framed photo of a woman on the wall and said, "It is not possible because that's our Auntie Parvati, and she died 10 years ago." I remember looking at the photo and a chill ran down my spine. It was the same woman. There was no mistaking it. The same wispy white hair, the same skeletal face. My grandfather could speak no further. He returned the torchlight to the man, and we left the house as quickly as we could. We later found out from the locals that Auntie Parvati had been a kind woman who believed in helping people. She had lost her child to a painful accident on the road and couldn't bear to watch crying children. There had been a few incidents in the village where unsuspecting visitors to the village who were traveling with children had run into her ghost on the dark road, and she had helped them. We were told that perhaps my younger cousin's cry may have attracted her ghost to us that night. It's been more than 20 years since that night. We often speak about this experience in our family. My grandparents believe that ghosts do exist. They say that if there's goodness in the world, there must be some evil too. And that is how our world maintains its balance. When I remember that incident even today, I can still feel her hand on my arm that she held to stop me from falling on the road that night. I don't think Auntie Parvati was evil. She helped us, and I can only pray that she finds peace wherever she is. Do let me know what you thought about my family's experience, Robert. And once again, lots of love.
First of all, thank you so much for that story. Your incredible narration. You have such a lovely voice. That was so, so nice to listen to. And also really creepy at the same time because of the whole ghost thing. I tell you what, I love a useful ghost. There's all these stories about, ghosts doing things like banging on your doors and staring at you through your windows, and then you get these really nice stories where these other spirits like appear when just in time to help, and when you said, in fact she appeared when she heard a child's cry, it's just nice. It's just a nice, she helped you up. I love it. I love those kind of stories. Yeah, I love the story. Thank you so much, and what a pleasure to listen to your voice. Such a nice voice. I'm going to go into a darker palette now. I'm going to take this front shade and the back shade just to lighten and darken. So our next story is called It Follows. Ooh. It says, "Hi Robert, firstly I just want to say I love you and I love your content. Thank you so much. I've been getting better at makeup thanks to you. Thank you. My story starts when I was 11 years old in the Philippines. I was on vacation with my family and we stayed at my mum's sister's place. My cousin always teased me of a ghost that would haunt you in the middle of the night if you were the only one awake. I believed them, of course. I was 11. Everything scared me. One night, I really could not sleep. I hid under my blanket, staring into a bedroom door that had been left open. My mind playing tricks on me, making me imagine someone peeking out. I shifted my focus on the standing fan that was positioned next to me at the head of the bed. It moved side to side like any normal electrical fan, so I stared at it for a good minute. Then it just stopped moving. The blade was still working, but the side-to-side movement stopped. It stopped in my direction, as if it was looking back at me. Stop! The next thing I know, a dead moth was spat at me from the fan direction. It was like it was thrown and hit me right in my face. It was an old wives' tale that in the Philippines, that white butterflies or moths symbolize loved ones who have passed away, and they visit you from time to time in that form. I don't know who this moth was meant to represent, or what spirit was lurking around to kill it and toss it in my way, but clearly it wasn't happy to see me. Around the same year, we had another vacation in Cairo, Egypt, with my dad and his family. We stayed at my aunt's house. It was nearing midday, almost 11 a.m., and I was still sound asleep in my aunt's room. I was alone in the bedroom with the door closed. I remember it vividly, as if it happened yesterday. I had a dream that I was in my own room back in Dubai, singing, when suddenly I see a black figure in the corner of the room, whispering something that I could not understand. In my dream, I begin to yell for my nanny, calling her name over and over. The louder I screamed, the closer the figure got to me. As soon as my nanny busted through my bedroom door, she ran and immediately hugged me. That's when the black figure rushed towards me, and in its voice got louder and I heard it say to me, "Don't you want me to go to Egypt?" just as it passed through me. At that point, I woke up sweating, my heart racing. I jumped out of bed and ran to the living room where the rest of my family were, but I didn't tell anyone about the dream. A few years passed, and I haven't encountered or dreamt of it again until 2014. I turned 18 years old. It happened in my dreams again. This time I was with my dad in a car. We were driving along the dirt road that had an upcoming curve. Suddenly, the car stopped. Just as we were about to reach the end, I was sitting in the back seat of the car, and from my window, I saw it. I saw the black figure again, watching us in the dark. This time, it was holding 3 large black dogs with it that had glowing eyes. They were growling and barking at us. They were more like monsters. My dad jumped in the back seat with me. He started crying, and I still stared back at the figure as it started to float towards the car. My dad held me and told me he was scared. I told him not to worry and to close his eyes, not to look at the figure. I started to recite verses of prayer in my dream in efforts to expel this entity. I continued to pray, and eventually it backed away and vanished, allowing my dad to start up the car again. We drove away, and I made it out, and that's when I woke up again. But this time, not as terrified as I was when I was 11 years old. This time my faith rescued me, and it happened time and time again. And my dream self would recite verses of prayer again, and it would vanish as I would wake up. Even though it's been a while since something weird has happened, I still wonder if it follows. Again, these shadowy figures just lurking around, and they you can never usually tell sometimes if they're being malicious or they're just, just hanging out, But this one, of course, was so terrifying and evil. What a horrible, horrible thing. All right, so I'm going to finish up my face, a bit of blush and my lips. And as is custom, we have Marcus reading us some stories. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Robert. Greetings from Mexico. I'm obsessed with your channel, Love Heart. So, the first part of my story happened when I was like 8 years old. Me and my cousins were playing hide and seek in the morning in a small park close to my aunt's house. Everybody had run to find a spot, and I was still trying to figure out mine. I clearly saw a woman walk from one tree to another and then disappear, as if she had entered into the tree. She was wearing a long white dress and had really long black hair. I couldn't see her face. Needless to say, we were the only ones there, and all of us were wearing jeans and shorts. I totally forgot about that incident and never talked about it to anyone. However, one afternoon when I was like 12, I was in my house alone on the first floor. I was in the kitchen and I had to go to the backyard to feed my cats. I took the food and headed there. But when I walked next to my bedroom, I swear, in my peripheral vision, I saw that same girl from the park sitting on my bed. Same long white dress, long black hair, and she had her head down so the hair covered her face. I felt chills, so I walked back one step and looked at my bedroom again, but there was nothing there. I left the cat food on the floor and ran to the second floor to my mum, but I didn't mention anything because she would never believe me. I haven't seen her since, thank God, and haven't been to that park in years either. I hope she doesn't show up after telling this story, because I still sleep in the same bedroom. This is a ghost story from Poland. Hi Robert, I would like to share with you a creepy story, what I've heard recently from my co-worker. I'm going to call it the Hidden Cemetery. I work at a bus station in one of the Polish cities. The city is one of the biggest, however the bus station is terrible, almost like a relic from the 1970s. There is a dispatch office in the building which is open 24/7, and after 10 the worker closes the doors of that part of the building and the little office, and no one is around in the office section after this time. Also, no one else has a key besides the dispatcher. One of the ladies working a night shift was sitting by her desk and looking at her laptop. On the left side of the room is a window which looks into the hallway. The lady was minding her business when suddenly she saw an older man in a white shirt quickly passing through. She got really anxious and scared because no one was in the building. She closed the entrance herself earlier. She decided to go out to the hallway and look for the man, but there was no one there. However, she could hear some suspicious sounds. She locked herself in her room and called security. When they came and looked round, there was nobody and no traces of breaking in. When she told the story to one of her friends who'd been working there longer, it turned out that under the building there is a very old Jewish cemetery, which dates back to probably the 1800s. The building was set on the cemetery years ago, without the exhumation of bones. She was not the only person to see the man in the white shirt appearing around the building during the night. After she told me this, I'm always super anxious to work late hours in my office, as it shares the same hallway. Well, you're going to have to keep an eye out for both the girl with the long hair in her dress and the man in the white shirt in the Polish bus station. Just before I go, I need you all to know Robert's ruined my birthday this year, which is today, and Robert's ruined it already. Okay, bye.
It is Marcus's birthday date, but it won't be. You'll be seeing this the week after. So, Marcus, happy birthday. I'm more than happy to ruin your birthday every year. I think we have one more story left, and then that's us for the week. It's a really long one. Okay. Let me put my lashes on while we do this then. So this story is called Triple X. It's not that kind of story, I don't think. It says, "Hi Robert, I love you and your videos. I have a history with the paranormal. I have tons of stories that have happened to me in my life. Thank you very much. Please feel free to share. This story is about the woman. I have a group of 8 very close friends, mostly guys, 2 girls, including me. We always hung out at one of a friend's house every single time we decided all to get together. When I came back from a quick vacation, my friends told me they decided to play with a Ouija board. Clearly, that is a huge mistake, and they all knew I was completely against touching those damn things, so they played without me. They told me nothing happened when they were asking questions at night, and it was a bummer for them. About a week later, my friends were chatting. One of them came up to me and told me very quietly that 2 days later, he stayed over the house, and while he was laying with his girlfriend on the bed in the dark, he was dozing off. But before he could sleep, there was a shadow of a woman in a long dress standing in the doorway. The only light was coming from the kitchen. He looked at his girlfriend and had to do a double take. The figure was suddenly gone. The look on his face was so uncomfortable, so I knew he wasn't joking. He was never one to joke about things like that, and he never stayed at the house again. Fast forward 1 week later exactly, after that incident, my boyfriend was staying over my house. He had also been there during the Ouija board foolery at my friend's house. He walked off to my bedroom and quickly came back and asked me if I had come to his door. And I said no. He freaked out because he isn't really a believer in ghosts, but swore on everything that someone knocked on the bathroom door in a female voice and whispered, "Are you there?" He told me he responded but heard nothing. No one else was in the house at night. A similar thing happened to me while I was in the bathroom a different night. I was brushing my teeth and heard a woman's voice talking, and every word sounded like it was getting louder and angrier, even though I couldn't make out what she was saying. Her voice was right outside the door, and it was like gibberish. It freaked me out, and I was frozen because nobody else was at my house, and my boyfriend was sleeping. I had no choice but to quickly yank the door open. It was just darkness, and no one was there. I finished what I was doing and ran to my room. It was completely quiet, and the gibberish stopped as soon as the door was open. My heart sunk because at this moment I realized a pattern with a woman's voice, and the woman my friend told me about. Mind you, I lived in this house for 5 years. It's brand new, never owned, and never had a paranormal incident here. She brought herself to light again while I was taking a nap during the next day. I've had sleep paralysis since I was a kid, and it was the first time I heard a voice during it. It was her voice. I know it was. I couldn't move, but I heard her yelling. Her yelling got louder and louder as she got closer to my ear, and I could not move. This time I understood her. She was screaming. It's always going to be like this, over and over, until I woke up completely. After that, I can't lie. I was angry at my boyfriend and my friends for messing with that Ouija board whilst being uneducated about it. Not too long after, another one of my friends who was a paramedic came to my house and fed the dogs while I was out. He told me he was sitting on my couch. He heard footsteps coming from upstairs. My room is above a living room. This friend was also a non-believer but told me he couldn't make it up. He said he thought maybe someone was home, and so he called out my name. He said his steps came to a halt so suddenly that it sent chills down his back. This friend of mine was big and never scared of anything, but after calling my name out again and hearing nothing, he decided to run off after he fed my dogs. The woman had been around me ever since, and I know it's her because for some reason, she always likes to mess with me while I'm in the bathroom showering. She banged on my door while I was at my grandmother's and no one was home, and now bangs on my door here and there while currently staying at my boyfriend's house. The woman is more annoying than scary now. The more I block her out and pretend I don't hear her, the less she messes with me. I hope she soon will disappear completely. It's been about a month and a half since the last set of knocking. Well, first of all, your friends, what the hell? Why would you do that? And look, you weren't even involved and you're the one having to now deal with all of this. That is so irritating. Thank you so much for your story. I hope it stops completely for you and you can get a bit more comfortable. Okay, what's happening with my lashes here? Something's going on with my lashes and it's making me look a little bit like this. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Those are the stories for this week. Like I said, if you have any experiences yourself or any stories you wish to share with me, then please go ahead and send them right here to this email address. I will leave the names and links to all the products I use below in the description box. Thank you so much again for joining me. Have an amazing week ahead, and I will see you very soon. Bye.